BB851, turn right, heading 180. Order 14 Papa, turn right 245, report localizer established 27.
Woes with the Boeing 777X continue following reports that emerged thanks to Reuters and Bloomberg, which will be linked below, that noted Boeing had said that 118 of its original firm orders for their newest wide-body aircraft, known as the 777X series, have, under recent accounting rules, appear to no longer be listed as firm orders. These said rules that I've just mentioned allow executives and accounting employees of companies and so forth to continue to assess whether or not these orders have the potential of going through, or should I add, are actually viable in the current position the industry is in, or even maybe said airline is in. If they're no longer deemed as viable, it is a legal requirement that the said orders have to be removed from the order book. Currently, the Boeing 777X is floating at a couple hundred orders. Specifically, at the end of 2019, it had a total of 309 firm orders. Since then, a bit has changed. However, really, it has struggled throughout the years to gather a lot of attention from customers worldwide. And while that may come across as a negative statement towards the aircraft, it has certainly had its odds. It has certainly had the odds stacked up against it for many different reasons. The 777X was launched all the way back in 2013 to customers. In 2013, its predecessor, the Boeing 777, was still being produced and delivered at a rapid rate, which logically means that customers aren't exactly looking for the new replacement immediately. The 777X with most airlines was a relatively new aircraft, and still is for most today in 2021. So to begin with, the 777X already started off life appealing to only a select few airlines at the beginning that were actually looking for a replacement to their 777 aircraft. With the likes of Emirates, Etihad, Qatar, really those main three in the Middle East, carrying the weight of the orders for the type so far. On top of these three Middle Eastern carriers, we have Lufthansa from Germany, Cathay Pacific, British Airways, All Nippon Airways, and Singapore Airlines all being customers. However, as you can see from the graphic on your screen now, the large gap in orders from 2014 is evident. That's a 7-year period with only a handful of actually brand new orders. Something we wouldn't really see, however, it also makes sense, you could argue. On top of this, the Boeing 777X was impacted by the GE9X, which of course was an unfortunate problem to do with the engines during the certification process, which resulted in the 777X test aircraft being unable to fly, of course putting a halt in plans for them to certify the jet. On top of this, we had the introduction of the global pandemic, which just so happened to come directly after the GE9X engine troubles, meaning the 777X really couldn't get back to the position that it was after those engine difficulties. What's interesting from this story to emerge as well is that the very same accounting rule that I mentioned to you at the beginning of this video was actually what was responsible for Boeing being forced to remove hundreds upon hundreds of orders of the 737 MAX last year. This is something that featured heavily on the channel and was reported by Bloomberg. It's worth briefly also mentioning that this accounting rule isn't something only Boeing has to abide by. Airbus, Embraer, even Comac, and more generally any aircraft manufacturer has to also follow this regulation where if an order no longer appears to be viable, it is moved from the order book until it can be made viable again. And if it can't, well, it completely disappears. It's as simple as that. It was only last week as well when we received news that the Boeing 777X's entry into service would once again be delayed until the end of 2023, with now the very real possibility following independent reviews from certain regulators like that of the EASA and more, that it could enter into service in some areas worldwide in 2024. That's nearly 4 years after it was originally scheduled to take to the skies with passengers on board. And we're talking in a day and age where, of course, there are many aircraft coming into the scene. So for it to take this long from an introduction to eventual entry into service, which would roughly be 11 years, is a very long period of time. However, like I've mentioned a few times in this video, for the majority of the case, you cannot blame Boeing for any of this. There are a lot of factors out of their control which have contributed to the delays that we're seeing take place right now. If you have any thoughts on the whopping 118 aircraft now at risk from completely disappearing from their order list and dropping it down considerably, especially with it mainly coming all the orders from the 3 Middle Eastern carriers, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for your continued support. Please do continue to stay safe, and I will see you all next time.